Farzy here for the Farzy Show, and today's Steven Singer studio is an amazing lake house in Skinny Atlas. That's right, Skinny Atlas, New York, upstate New York. Look at that. Look at that hearth. That's an actual hearth. Isn't that beautiful? But I'm here in the kitchen / living room at this place. My wife and I are up here with some couple squeezing in one last vacation before football season absolutely dominates us. But I wanted to make sure I gave you guys at least somewhat of a reaction to the Phillies losing 5-3 to the Miami Marlins, failing to complete the sweep. And I know I just went on a rant yesterday about the Phillies and the Eagles hopefully being good at the same time. I see both teams making it to the playoffs. Phillies got 19 games left in the regular season. The Eagles certainly have more than that. But bottom line is they're both going to be playoff teams. I'm not going to overreact to a loss to the Marlins, though it sucks they weren't able to complete the sweep. But nonetheless, I wanted to make sure you guys were prepared for the weekend and, of course, Monday night's kickoff against the Minnesota Vikings. So I booked in advance because I wanted you guys to have that fresh content no matter where I was in the world. I booked my friend Derrick Gunn and my co-host of Jacob Media Pregame Show for the Eagles season this year. And Derrick Gunn will help me break down all things Eagles-Vikings. And Gunner joins us right now on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line.
Right now, the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, my dear friend that I've known for about 15 years now, Mr. Derrick Gunn joins us. It's 15 years ago. We were in the Eagles. I know you remember this fondly. We were in the we were at training camp. We were at the press box, and Hugh Douglas was like, "Yo, Gunn, do you know Farzetta?" Yeah. And you're like, "No, I don't." And then I think you tripped over a cord and knocked the volume off the TV. Something happened.
That is not true. That is not true. I might have said I didn't know who you were at the time, but I never trip. Never.
Never. You're a sure-footed man. You're a sure-footed man. Now, I say, good friend, and the audience knows this. I send you this photo. Yeah. And I expect some adulation as you got the fish behind you in your office there in your studio. Yes. And I expect like, hey, way to go, whippersnapper. Yes. Way to be. And instead, let's see here. I'll read the text message.
You're going to go to the phone? Really?
I'm going to the phone. I'm going to the phone. Here's the text message. Nice hat. Were you out drinking? Thank you. Not like you don't even acknowledge the fish.
It's not a fishing hat, first of all. You look like you were going to the local pub or to a cigar bar. That's not a fishing hat. So, see, that's a novice mistake right there. That's the dead giveaway that you're just learning how to fish. So you try to fool people. I'm an avid fisherman. No, you're not. You don't even have the proper fishing gear. What are you doing?
I was getting weird looks on the Shenandoah River in Virginia. So yeah, I was getting some weird looks. Now that is like a 10-year-old hat. Does that matter at all?
No, it's more like a drinking cigar smoking hat. No, you need to get you a real fisherman hat, man. Whether it's a baseball cap hat or get one of those wide brim hats that we like the safari hat type. You got to get one of those. I'm serious, man. I got a couple of them.
Okay, all right. Well, bring one. I don't mind taking an old one from you. Bring one Monday night, Ocean Casino, where you and I are going to be doing the pregame show with our dear friend Seth Joyner as well on the Jacob Media YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
As I am, and I'm we break stones, of course, but I am so excited to be working with you again for this football season on the Jacob Media platform, my friend. The first show I thought I thought we pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, I did too. We had some minor technical glitches, but when you consider the organic chemistry between me, you, and Seth, I knew the show was going to work. Everything else takes care of itself, and it was the first one. So you hit the ground running. You build from there.
There you go.
I love the chemistry, the conversation, and I tell you what. After doing a 3-hour show every day, Monday through Friday, from noon to 3, with Barrett Brooks and Rob Ellis on Sports Take on the Jacob Sports Media platform, that hour went by so fast. I said, are we just 30 minutes into this thing? We're already an hour into it, man. We were blazing.
Yeah, we were cooking, man. We were really cooking, and there's plenty of stuff to talk about, obviously, right before an Eagles game as we do that pregame show.
Right.
You mentioned natural chemistry. You mentioned getting out of the gates quickly. Eagles got out of the gates a little slow in their first series, and then obviously allowed that opening drive touchdown against the Lions. We finally get to bury all of that. They were slow in the beginning, pretty good in the middle, and then ended rather, not great. Now they got the Vikings coming up, of course, on Monday night. Now, before we go into the weekend here, Gunner, I got to get your take on this. Before, final press conferences happen, before final injuries have happened or anything like that, what is your gut feeling going up against Minnesota Vikings?
It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. It could come down to who has the ball last. If that Eagles defense played a similar game as they did against Detroit, they're going to get beat. But I trust the players are going to look at their film over and over and over, and they have, and correct some of the mistakes, especially gap control on the running plays, because I did not expect. I knew DeAndre Swift is a quality back. He's one of the better backs in the league. I knew Detroit had a good offensive line. See, people who said there were two folds of people. I expect them to blow out Detroit. I never expected them to blow out Detroit. Number one. Number two, the strength of Detroit's team was their offensive line. They had 3 first-round picks on that offensive line. 2 of them didn't play because of injuries, but the backups played well. Detroit has a really good offensive line, and they have a couple of good running backs in Swift and Jamal Williams as well, and they both ran the ball hard. Swift had $144, rushing totally at 161, but I was surprised they had 161 yards rushing on this Eagles defensive front. And I was surprised that the Eagles never made the adjustments because Detroit was trapping them all night to open lanes for the backs to run through. And the defensive coordinator and the personnel just never made the necessary adjustments. They did on 3 series. After Detroit went down and smacked them in the mouth in their first series, Jonathan Gannon attacked more. And you can see Jared Goff is not a comfortable quarterback. There's some quarterbacks that dare you to blitz them, and they'll beat you all day in a blitz. Jared Goff is not one of those quarterbacks. Jared Goff, you could tell he was nervous, got rid of the ball, overthrowing the ball, underthrowing the ball. Those 3 consecutive series when the Eagles really ramped up the pressure on him. Didn't get him down, but ramped up the pressure on him. Then after that, all of a sudden, they got away from it. And I'm thinking, why did you get away from what's working? Why? And that's what everybody's asking. Why did you get away from what was working? You had Jared Goff right where you wanted him. He didn't want any parts of that Eagles defense at that point. He didn't want to get hit. Mm-hmm. But then you play back into their hand and allow them to creep back in that game. But even with that said, when it was 31-14, 38-21, I still thought the game was over. And all of a sudden, 38-28, 38-35. They got a little too hairy. But you know what, Mark? We can hem and haw and moan about what they should have done better. But when you look across the league at some of the crazy outcomes of the games in that first week, which is standard, everybody's rusty the first week. It's like opening auditions. The fact that the Eagles came out on top is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. They didn't get embarrassed like Dallas did. They didn't blow a game like Cincinnati did. They didn't blow a game like Tennessee did and allow the Giants to win that game. They weren't the Colts and the Texans playing to a 20-all tie. First week of the season, we have a tie already. I mean, seriously. So the Eagles did get the W, and they will improve from there.
I still can't get over the Giants winning that game. They were down 13 at halftime. Titans put them. I thought they put them away when they went up 20-13, and they didn't, unfortunately.
But I hate to say this though, Brian Daboll is going to get that program right. He told all the players in training camp, "I'm going to be an aggressive coach." And when you look at what he said after the game, he said, when we scored that touchdown to get within 1, I looked at defensive players and say, "Hey, I'm going for 2. What do you think?" And the player said, a team that had the record they had last, "Oh no, let's play for the tie and try to get a break in overtime." They said, "Go for it."
Yeah.
And they win the game in regulation. That takes some balls to do what he did in the opening game of the season. And it turned out, you know what that does for locker room morale when you're trying to turn something around?
Yeah.
And I think once he gets the type of quarterback he wants and the personnel that he wants on both sides of the football, not this year, but within probably next year, the next 2 years, the Giants are going to be a heck of a team to deal with.
Mm-hmm. No, I unfortunately agree. I just think they still need a quarterback. They got a pretty damn good running back.
I agree.
But I'm with you in terms of they will be better than what they were last year. No doubt about that. Let me ask you about this there, Gunner. You just had an interview recently with Brandon Graham and talking about morale. You and Brandon have met each other once or twice before, from what I understand.
Casual acquaintance. Yeah.
When you talk about morale, right, and you talk about people rallying around their quarterback, rallying behind their veteran players like Brandon Graham and Jason Kelce, it certainly seems like this team, even before they played in week 1, they still seem like that very solid, cohesive unit where everybody's got everybody's back, next man up, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And Brandon Graham's a big part of that.
There's no question. They only have a handful of players left from that Super Bowl team in 2017. And when Jason Kelce delivered that message about we haven't won anything yet, we have to put in the work. A message like that could only come from a Jason Kelce because he's so passionate. I'm not saying it couldn't have come from a Brandon Graham, but a message like that had to come from a Jason Kelce. And, and I said on our show, Sports Take, maybe at the time Jason could sense that some of the players, new players, young players, were starting to feel themselves because they'd had such a great training camp. You know me, I never equate much to training camps and preseason games anyway, because everybody's great in training camp and preseason. So I said, maybe they started feeling themselves a little bit, and Jason Kelce had to bring them off that high horse and bring them back down to earth just a little bit. But it's a very cohesive unit, even with all the new additions. One thing Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie consistently wanted to do is to change the culture of this team, the locker room culture, the camaraderie culture of this team. And they have done a very good job of that through the years, the Doug Peterson era, so on and so forth. And it continues now. So yeah, that bond, that chemistry, that cohesiveness among teammates is there, and it will only get stronger as they go along. I felt, and I thought I saw it a little bit. Excuse me. I thought that when you put in the multitude of pieces on defense, they brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson, they brought in James Bradbury, Kazir White, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis. Hassan Reddick. When you bring in that many people, it takes more than just practice for you to get that timing down and to understand the guy you're playing next to and to get a feel for that guy. So, that first game, they hopefully got the rust off, and it's a lot smoother going from here.
Certainly. And where can we catch that interview with you and Brandon Graham? At the Jacob Media YouTube channel as well, as Gun on One podcast, available on Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, man. Hey, look, I moved the Gun on One podcast this year over to the Jacob Sports Media YouTube platform because their numbers have been incredible. So to kick off the new season, my first guest is my guy, Brandon Graham, and we had a great conversation. So I advise everybody, if you want to watch it, you can find it on the Jacob Sports Media YouTube platform or wherever you want to listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, so on and so forth. So Gun and Run is off and running once again, man.
Once again. Hey, why should I be more confident, Gunner, that this Eagles team will not miss 15 tackles like they did last week against the Lions? Why should I believe just 1 week goes by and a day, essentially? Why should I believe that they're going to be better tacklers against the Vikings than they were against the Lions? Because
it has been talked about so much after the Lions game. I'm not surprised it was as shoddy as it was, considering they didn't play much in the preseason. They didn't practice tackling much in training camp. What did you expect it to look like coming out of the gate? Okay, you look at a team like Detroit, Dan Campbell, as we saw in Hard Knocks, and obviously I don't get caught up in the Hard Knocks hype, but from what I found out about Dan Campbell, ran that team through the ringer, And the battle cry in Detroit was, we're not that 3-13-1 team we were a year ago, but in order to prove that, we have to be a better team. So he had them dudes out there practicing hard in that limited amount of time you're allowed to practice in now. And it showed. Look at the difference in the tackling between Detroit compared to the Eagles. And it's going to get better because it's been magnified too much. It's been talked about with Jonathan Gannon after the game in his post-game press conferences, both right after the game and later in the week. So it's been seen on film. People have been singled out for missing a tackle. Players have looked at themselves and like, I can't believe I let this dude get away from me. So I'm not going to say I expect it to be 100% better, but I do expect it to be significantly better than it was in that season opener.
Good enough for me. Do you have an early prediction, or are you saving that for Monday?
I'm going to save that for Monday. That's Mark, I keep going back and forth, Farzy, and there's too many variables in this game. Green Bay let Justin Jefferson run all over the field. If I had that kind of space, even on my gimpy hamstring and knees, I could have caught at least 3 passes in that much space. I wouldn't have had 184 yards receiving like Justin Jefferson did. I might have had like 30 yards receiving, but I could have caught some of those passes in that much open space. You cannot let Justin Jefferson just run wild. But you cannot forget Adam Thielen. You cannot forget Irv Smith, the tight end. And you certainly cannot forget Dalvin Cook coming out of the backfield. So the Eagles and Vikings match up very well on both sides of the football. The Vikings have 2 strong tackles. They have Christian Darrisaw, who was a first-round pick, and Brian O'Neill, 2 solid tackles. That is the strength of their offensive line. So the edge rushing play for the Eagles is going to be significant, and trying to keep that pass rush off of Jalen Hurts, because if I'm Minnesota after watching what Detroit did from start to finish, they did not let up on their pass rush. Aaron Glenn just turned the dogs loose and said, look, we know we can't match the man for man, so we've got to do something different to try to gain advantage. And lo and behold, they made Jalen Hurts run a lot more than he wanted to, I'm sure. So if I'm Minnesota, I'm looking at their film, we got to bring the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They have much better personnel. I think the Vikings have 3 of the best linebackers in the game today, and Eric Kendricks, Jordan Hicks, who led them last week against Green Bay in tackles with 14. Jordan Hicks is an underrated player in Philadelphia, in Arizona, and in Minnesota. All he does is make plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he does is make plays. And then he got Zadarius Smith, who they got from Green Bay. So their linebackers are going to be much better than what they faced in Detroit. So that's why when people have asked me already, who you like in this game Monday night, I don't know right now. I won't know until that question is posed to me on our pregame show on Monday.
There we go. I wonder who will pose that to you. That's so crazy.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Some guy, I'll tell you what, some guy in a new fishing hat to me, but an old fishing hat to you.
If you're going to send me pictures of you fishing, have the appropriate attire, please, because I'm going to bring that up as soon as I see it.
Now I'm going to wear a suit. Now I'm going to wear a suit when I go up there. Last thing for you, and yeah. I like Jalen Hurts. I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback here for the foreseeable future. Did we see enough opportunity? I asked this question to Bo Wolf the other day. Did we see him with 17 runs and being rushed out of the pocket? Did we get enough of an opportunity to see a good amount of improvement from last year to this year?
Well, he threw 32 passes, completed 18 of them. It was a balanced attack, 39 rushing attempts, 32 passing attempts. The Detroit Lions forced Jalen Hurts to play the game he had to play. Okay. That man didn't have time to set his feet in a lot of occasions to throw a pass, and he had to take off and run. So think about of those 17 times there were several plays that were specifically called running plays, but the majority of them, he didn't have time to set his feet. He had to take off. And that's going to be the case each and every week. Everybody's going to present something different to try to rattle a Jalen Hurts or contain him a lot better. I like the way he threw the ball. I thought he threw the ball. He could have, I'm not going to say could have been a little bit more accurate, but he threw the ball well. He got the necessary completions that he needed. He has a better collection of pass catchers. I mean, Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith were hardly even in the equation. When you think about it, A.J. Brown had 10 catches. The next closest had 3. So it's going to balance out. And Devontae Smith had no catches on 4 targets. So it's going to balance out more as the season goes along. Where he is right now, I'm fine with that. That's just a small sample of what we need to see before we can make a true determination of, is Jalen Hurts the quarterback beyond 2022 for this organization?
Gotcha. And that's the perfect way to put that. Last week's game against the Lions, that's a perfect way to put that. He played the game the Lions forced him to play. He played the game he had to play against the Lions to win. That's a great point. That's why you're brilliant. That's why I concede. You're brilliant. You're brilliant.
That's what I tell myself.
Derrick Gunn, always a pleasure. I will see you Monday night for the pregame show on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. The Jacob Media pregame show with you and Seth Joyner and me as well. And also Sports Take. Catch you on the Jacob Media YouTube channel there. And Gun on One, your guest Brandon Graham. Gunner, I'll see you on Monday night, my friend.
All right, brother. I look forward to it, man.
I'll be sending you pics from the lake.
I can't wait to see those. And I'll try to be a little bit more forgiving when I critique what you're showing me.
No. I don't. That's not why I stay friends with you. I stay friends with you because of your harsh criticism. You demand perfection.
That's a little sick, isn't it? That's sick. You're a sick individual, Mark.
This is. I can confirm that. Per sources, can confirm. Derrick Gunn, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only. Man. Thanks, Gunner.
You're welcome, brother.
Derrick Gunn joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line.
All right, Nakobe, so we just drove around your amazing Audi. It's the first time you drove it. What'd you think of it?
Oh, it was good. It was a smooth ride. Breck gonna always take care of me here.
Where are you at your best? What brand of football? Like what do you like to do the most on the field? Like Hassan Reddick came in here and talked about like being aggressive, being able to play fast. That's when he's at his best. When are you at your best?
I feel like is when you being aggressive, being able to play fast. I feel like it's almost every defensive player's time where they can play their best. They can when they be able to play fast, they don't have to think too much. But I think that comes from studying the game. Like if you study the game and you know what to expect from your opponent, or you know your plays, you know the playbook and everything, then you be more comfortable. more comfortable. Then you play faster. It's more so you reacting than thinking too much. So I feel like when I'm able to be aggressive, be violent, tough, you know, I like coverage, I like blitzing. I like every aspect of being a linebacker, a middle linebacker, you know, from calling the plays and, you know, you being the voice of the defense.
I heard Coach Rallis talk about this the other day, about your versatility, really the whole group of linebackers, all your versatility, possibly playing you other spots as a linebacker, whether it be Mike, Sam, Will, whatever it might be. Are you comfortable if they're asking you to be a little bit more versatile?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at Georgia, we had 2 middle linebacker positions, and everybody in the room was expected to be able to play both. It was to the point where we didn't have to switch around anything. We just knew what we had to do. So it was like, for them to ask me to be a versatile player at the linebacker position is not nothing new to me, and I do feel comfortable doing whatever the team need me to do to win.
How much does it help that the guy that played in front of you at Georgia is also here with you in the NFL in Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot, not only from a football standpoint, but from being in a new city, trying to learn how things work, trying to learn how, you know, having somebody outside of football that you can go hang out with or talk to, or just, you know, that you can just trust right off the bat. I feel like that contributes more than what it does on the football field. Just knowing you already got somebody there that you went through Georgia at 3 years with. Now now y'all Eagles in the NFL together.
When you walk around Philadelphia, do people recognize you already?
I do. I get a lot of yeah. I was gonna try to downplay it, but yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty famous. I don't know if you know who I am, but yes. What have the fan interactions been like?
When I'm with Jordan, I'm good. They don't even recognize me. They just see how big Jordan is. That's the only person they see. I kind of scoot to the back, because sometimes you don't want to be recognized. You let them take pictures with him. So, but
I'm just Jordan's friend.
Yeah. But I mean, it's always. I mean, the experience I've got from the Philly fans have been none less than, you know, welcoming.
I want to talk to you about the draft night, and I want you to know, and this is no offense to Cam Jurgens, I hope you do a wonderful job in the NFL, it's great. When I saw you were still on the board in the second round, and the Eagles were coming up and picking, and I'm live on the air doing a show during this time, I lost my mind that you weren't selected in the second round. Do you still use that as motivation? You talked about it in the moment, it was a chip on your shoulder.
I mean, the chip was always there. Chip was always on my shoulder. Ever since I came out of high school, somebody been saying, oh, you not this, you not good enough, you not this enough. So my chip always been there throughout college. Now I'm in the NFL. Chip has got nothing but bigger. And what happened in the draft didn't do nothing but make the chip bigger. But other than that, though, of course, is motivation for me. I wouldn't say that it's not. Of course, I'm always remember this every time. I'm in the NFL, so every year when they talk about getting the draft coming around, I'm gonna think about the time when I got drafted, and more so, I'm starting to. And I know it's gonna change from a negative connotation one of these days, but I'm gonna always use it to motivate me on and off the field. But it's not, as far as being a primary, secondary, or tertiary motivation, it's not. It's not. I'm focused on myself. I control what I can control, and I know who I am. I know what type of player I am, and I know what I can do.
How good do you think this defense can be going into your rookie season?
I feel like we can be the best ever. We just gotta do the work. We gotta continue to work, continue to stay with each other, continue to put in those days to help us be good. But we take one day at a time, you know.
We've talked a lot about your education, your background, coming into the NFL. We talked about maybe pre-med, we talked about maybe chemistry, all that fun stuff. What about your singing career? When is that going to take off at some point? Are you just waiting to get discovered? How's that going to play out?
I mean, if I could think of some good songs, if I can think of some songs that sound good, maybe I could. Maybe I know JD DJ Oreo.
DJ Oreo, yes.
Yeah, it's JD names. So maybe we can after the season we can get together. We can do something. We can do something. We can just have fun with it. I mean, why not? We young.
I did catch your falsetto that you put out there during the rookie, what was it, the rookie talent show? The rookie singing?
Yeah.
What was it, just lip sync karaoke? What were you guys doing? You guys were lip singing? You were actually singing?
Lip singing.
You were really singing?
Yeah, we really had to sing. They actually turned the music down because people, they want to hear you sing. It's just the rookie sing. You know, I sung Fantasia When I See You. So I knew that song from top to bottom, so I sung it, and I knew it was gonna be here. I knew it was gonna be here. I was good. I wasn't nervous at all.
I knew it was gonna kill when we went out there. I knew. Is that the song that if you had someone put, Nakobe can sing, and you're at a party, Nakobe, sing a little bit. Is that the song that you're pumping out?
First of all, they shouldn't be asking me to sing at a party. Like, why would they ask? Yeah, Nakobe, you sing. I'm like, yo, y'all gotta be kidding me. Unless we all gonna sing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if I really was at a party and they was like, if we was doing karaoke, that'd be number one.
That'd be the number one song.
Number one song.
The Fantasia, right away.
When I See You.
When I See You, Fantasia. Can I get that little falsetto that you did? Okay, we can't do that right now? Really? Because the acoustics in here are incredible.
They all right. They decent. They
did not good?
They're not the bathroom.
What were some of the first things they told you when you came into the NovaCare complex and they're like trying to coach you up? Are there any specific things they're breaking down saying, all right, we need to work on this aspect?
Everything, basically, from the what they're expecting me to do in the playbook. They want me to pedal at a certain point or shuffle at a certain point. I had to know that, because it's different from how they wanted me to do it at Georgia, because sometimes it was just like get to that point.
If we really wanted to get to know Nakobe Dean, what's one thing that a lot of people, maybe in your personal circle, might know that we might not know on the outside? What would surprise me about you?
What would surprise you? I don't know. I don't know how people view me at a point. Sometimes they might think, you had 3.5, you was a mechanical engineer, maybe he's a nerd. Maybe he just, don't be locked in the house all day. I don't know how people view me.
I really enjoyed this conversation, Nakobe. Seriously, I really appreciate it, man. I wish you nothing but success in your rookie campaign, and we appreciate you coming into, obviously, Sky Motor Cars and doing this hit for the Farzy Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck. Hey, man, seriously, best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.